Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. I was just sobbing in front of the girls' dorm because of heartbreak, never expecting to be seen by the school's queen bee, who told me to stop crying. At most, I'll be your girlfriend. I froze for a few seconds, then reached out and hugged her waist, saying, "Wife, I love you." Her face turned black, then red. Being an agriculture department student, after the breakup, I turned grief into strength and made my final project, raising chickens to be plump and chubby. I thought first place in the department was in my grasp. Unexpectedly, just as I was buying chicken feed and walking towards the girls' dorm, my roommate called, saying my chickens had stolen cherry tomatoes from the neighboring area and were caught red-handed. All that was left was a pile of chicken feathers on the ground. My final grade also went down the drain. In just 2 short weeks, girlfriend gone, chickens gone, grades failing, and now phone hung up. I completely lost it and uncontrollably cried out. Men don't easily cry. They definitely haven't experienced this kind of bad luck. I was so sad that I burst into tears, squatting down in front of the girls' dorm and started wailing. Several girls in the dorm opened their windows and peeked their heads out, looking at me. "Hey, such a handsome boyfriend, how could she dump him? Little brother, did you think about us sisters? Tell me who that bad girl is. I'll help you destroy her relationship. Hey, I remember your girlfriend is in the South Dorm area. Little brother, did you cry in the wrong place?" After a while, she came downstairs with headphones and a cold face. The girls upstairs immediately ducked their heads back in. Ivy, the queen bee with a boxing background, 5 feet 7 inches tall, and with an aura of 6 feet 7 inches, consistently topped the list of the most unapproachable goddesses in school. Her stay-away face made both boys and girls a little afraid. 2 weeks ago, I sprained my ankle and had difficulty walking. She led a group of people to block me and my girlfriend on a secluded path. My girlfriend, seeing the situation was bad, pushed me forward and ran away. I hopped 2 steps, lost balance, and fell flat on my face in front of everyone. The girls tried so hard to hold back their laughter that their faces turned red. Ivy impatiently pulled me up from the ground. I immediately jumped back 3 meters away from her. Ivy looked at me as if wanting to say something. A few minutes later, I understood. It turned out they were sent by the teacher to deliver the grade report for level 6. Seriously, do you need to look so intimidating just to deliver a grade report? After handing me the report, she lazily glanced in the direction my girlfriend had run away, her tone cold. "It's almost New Year. Remember to clean up the mess next door." I bowed my head, embarrassed, and politely thanked her. My first love had just begun and ended in the most unromantic way, so now seeing her, my sadness piled up even more. Ivy lowered her gaze, her voice sounding both gentle and decisive. "Stand up." I staggered to my feet, still with tears. On my face, she frowned and said, "Stop crying, it's annoying. Do you want people to sleep?" I unconsciously apologized for my noisy behavior. "Sorry, I'm really too sad. The chicken I love the most was cooked by someone." Ivy leaned against the wall, looking lazy. "What's so good about her? At most, I'll be your girlfriend." Wait a minute, what did she just say? She finds me annoying but still wants to compensate me? I stared blankly at Ivy in astonishment for a few seconds. Her metal-rimmed glasses and rain-like eyelashes hid half of her eyes. Her pupils were as black as ink, with a hint of melancholy and a hint of gentleness. Her skin was cold white, her eyes were big and round, her nose bridge was high, and her thin lips were pale pink, gentle and indifferent, creating a sense of distance and inaccessibility. Ivy was really beautiful. Last time I was only focused on fear and embarrassment, not looking closely. Indeed, heaven still loved me. Even though it took away my chicken and first love, it gave me such a wonderful girlfriend. I rushed forward and hugged her waist, saying, "Wife, I love you." Immediately, more heads popped out of the windows upstairs. Whispers and discussions started again. "Oh my God, this little brother is really brave. Not afraid at all, so daring." Some even took out their phones to take pictures. Ivy raised her head and glanced at the heads peeking out upstairs. Everyone immediately ducked back in. She pushed me away gently but powerfully, her voice a little annoyed. "What are you shouting?" I sniffled and whispered, "Didn't you say you would compensate me with a girlfriend?" "Did I say I would compensate with myself?" Ivy slightly raised her head. looking at me with a faint smile. My heart couldn't help but beat faster. Just now, because of emotion, I naturally had strange courage. Now I realize she only said she would compensate with a girlfriend but didn't specify who. My face flushed slightly. I lowered my head awkwardly. I added, "Moreover, can I and that useless thing be compared? Definitely much better than her." I licked my lips and whispered, "Then who will be my girlfriend?" She rubbed her forehead and took a deep breath. "You really want to be in love that much?" I nodded frantically. I've been holding back for 6 years in both middle and high school. If I hold back any longer, I'll probably become a monk. Several girls upstairs peeked their heads out. "Sister Ivy, sign me up first. Then I'll be second. Me. Third." The corners of my mouth gradually turned into a smile, even inwardly ranking these girls. Ivy roared, "Are you all too free?" The windows slammed shut instantly. My smile also disappeared. I looked at Ivy, feeling wronged. This was the second time she ruined my romantic chances. Ivy chuckled softly, took out her phone, opened a QR code and held it in front of me. What was she going to do? Ivy prompted. "What are you spacing out for? Add me on WeChat." The 2 words, boyfriend. She spoke extremely clearly, but the ending sound was a bit ambiguous. Hearing it made my heart feel like it was being tickled by insects. My face flushed and I asked blankly, "Aren't you going to choose more carefully? You don't want to be my girlfriend anymore." Hearing this, Ivy's queen-like aura instantly cooled down. She stepped forward, and a faint scent of sandalwood perfume immediately filled the air. "What do you think? Isn't one of me enough? You still want a few more?" I immediately became frightened. "No, one of you is enough." This woman was really unpredictable. After adding WeChat and returning to the dorm, I was still in a daze. I just cried and got a girlfriend, and it's still the one topping the list of the most unapproachable goddesses. Surely Ivy wasn't just playing with me, right? I hugged my phone and opened Ivy's profile picture. The background was warm. A picture of a girl looking up, not knowing where her personality was so cold, but her profile picture was so gentle and beautiful. I paused, then secretly changed her contact name to wife. Lying in bed, my heart was jumping like a rabbit. Feeling the need to say something, I thought aimlessly for a while, deleted and rewrote, and finally sent a message. Not even 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Could it be that she changed her mind so quickly? Just then, a voice message came from the other side. Her voice was soft, sweet, and a little sleepy, but clearly revealed a hint of gentleness. "Unexpectedly, in the next 60 years, I will probably always be here. What's the matter? I just want to confirm a little. Now you were really my girlfriend, right?" As soon as the message was sent, even I felt that every word was stupid. I immediately wanted to recall it, but Ivy's voice rang out. "Right, we are lovers now. You can confirm it again and again. The answer will always be the same." I couldn't help but type on the keyboard faster. "Then can you send me some of your pictures?" Ivy's moments were so clean, there was nothing. Otherwise, I wouldn't need to directly ask the person herself. I turned on her voice message. Ivy chuckled twice, the laughter making my heart tremble. "It's 1 a.m. now. The pictures you want, do you want them to be decent?" My face flushed. Could there be indecent ones? Hey, it's not like it's completely unacceptable just to comfort my wounded soul. This time, Ivy didn't send a voice message but typed a line. "You rascal, go to sleep now." Her attitude changed faster than flipping a book. Rascal? Isn't she the #1 female rascal in school? Why so fierce? No wonder after 3 years of university, she hasn't had a relationship. She was still single. I was annoyed and about to turn off my phone when suddenly the red dot on wife's avatar in WeChat appeared. I clicked on it. It was a picture of Ivy lying sideways on the bed, her long hair spread on the pillow, the quilt covering her tightly, not even showing her collarbone. The dim light was just enough to outline her features. I don't like taking pictures. There are no photos in my album. Just took one temporarily. Take a look for now. I slowly smiled and sent back a goodnight sticker. The schools. Queen Bee seemed to be much better than I imagined. The next morning I woke up early, rarely used hairspray and fixed my hair, putting on a brand new black jacket from the bottom of my closet. My roommate sleepily walked down from his bed, saw me, and his eyes widened. Damn it, Ethan is also up. Damn it, it's late already. Damn it, it's only 7 o'clock and we don't have early classes today. My roommate looked me up and down, pinched my chin, his eyes full of concern. Buddy, it's not because the chicken was stewed that you were hit so hard, right? I gently pushed his hand away and looked in the mirror to check. Luckily, my hair wasn't messy. My roommate folded his arms and narrowed his eyes at me. Ethan, you're not normal. You're hiding something from me, right? I hurriedly went out the door. I'll tell you later. I have classes this morning. If I go early, maybe I could meet her before class. The previous 2 times I met Ivy were when I was most embarrassed. This time I must regain my dignity. Although there were many people in the classroom looking through the window, the first thing I noticed was Ivy. She was slumped on the table, looking petite but exuding a wild beast-like strength. Lazy and aloof, everyone around her automatically avoided her. I called out to the girl collecting homework at the door. Can you call Ivy for me? The girl replied calmly. Sister Ivy is sleeping. If it's a love letter, give it to me. I don't accept WeChat or anything else. I said. It's not a love letter. I want to see her. The girl said. Oh, want to confess directly, right? Little brother, I'm not scaring you. Confessing directly to Sister Ivy, 9 out of 10 people leave in tears. One look and you know you're a good student. Well behaved. Sister Ivy hates this type the most. I looked down at my outfit. So Ivy didn't like this style. Gradually, more and more people gathered around, many eyes staring at me, looking like they were afraid of not having enough excitement. I felt dizzy and wanted to turn around and leave, but a cold voice that allowed no refusal rang out. Ivy! Ivy stood up and walked in front of me, slightly curling her lips into a smile. Looking for me? I initially said yes, but not anymore. With so many people watching, I just wanted to run away quickly. I made up an excuse. I have an early class today. Got to go. Ivy said lazily. Which room? I said a room number at random. Room 312, Ivy replied. This is the first time I've heard that the restroom can also be a classroom. Her voice sank. Lying to me? I didn't dare to look directly at Ivy. I could only slowly lower my head and whisper in defense. No, maybe I remembered wrong. I'll go first. Before I finished speaking, the class bell rang. Everyone immediately dispersed. The teacher stood at the door, looked at me and Ivy and said, You two are standing here catching the northwest wind. Quickly go to your seats. Ivy replied, Yes. I was surprised. Ivy leaned slightly close to my ear, her voice extremely low. Don't block my way again in the future. This is the punishment. Her warm breath brushed against my neck, spreading to my heart. My face immediately turned red. Ivy, she must be a Scorpio, right? Just sitting down, countless eyes around me focused on me as if wanting to drill through me. The teacher was lecturing, but I couldn't hear a word, only secretly tilting my head to look at Ivy. Unexpectedly, she was listening very attentively, occasionally writing a few lines. Ivy's handwriting was very beautiful, and her hands were even more beautiful than her handwriting, strong strokes. I suddenly remembered that Ivy was a boxer. Her position as the school's queen bee was also truly won with her fists. My dad once said that people who fight often have their strength clearly reflected in their bodies, but Ivy didn't seem like them. She carried a feeling of being detached from the world around her, plus the light floral perfume on her body. Ivy asked, Have you looked enough? I was startled and immediately retracted my gaze. No, I wasn't peeking at you. This answer had a guilty conscience feel. No need to explain. I lowered my head in embarrassment. Ivy lowered her eyes, her tone gentle. If you want to look, just look. No charge. It was finally time to get out of class. Ivy went to help the teacher move things. I was just about to leave when I saw a group of people at the door. Wow, I heard today Sister Ivy brought a super handsome little brother and a well-behaved personality. Oh my God, isn't Sister Ivy the one who hates well-behaved types the most? While talking, those people came in front of me and surrounded me. Who are you? How come I've never seen you before? Stupid, can't you see? This is the little brother. Talking to the little brother, you have to be careful. Little brother, what's your relationship with Sister Ivy? She has never let male students sit near her before. I even thought she was the type who doesn't get close to men. At the national presentation, I seem to have seen you. I was in charge of carrying chairs. Do you remember? I awkwardly clenched my fingers. What are you guys doing? Ivy cut through the crowd and walked towards me. Amidst the noise, my stomach rumbled even louder. Ivy asked me, "Hungry?" I shook my head, but as a result, my stomach rumbled even louder. Ivy said, "Boyfriend is hungry. I'll take him to eat first. I'll officially introduce him to everyone another day." The two words boyfriend from her mouth. Why were they so ambiguous? The listener's heart had to beat faster. Everyone was stunned for a moment, then smiled in unison. So it's brother-in-law. The girl who collected homework at the door smiled most brightly. Sister Ivy is really sly. Brother-in-law looks great in this outfit. I glanced at her secretly. Clearly, 2 hours ago, she was still criticizing my dressing style. Ivy and I walked a few meters away, and I could still hear the chatter from the classroom. Sister Ivy, this old iron tree can also fall in love. I always thought Sister Ivy was cold and emotionless. No wonder I never dared to introduce male friends to her. Her unexpectedly gentle moments made Ivy seem fierce normally, making them think that just now she was gentle. The sun outside was bright, and Ivy's glasses reflected the light softly. I suddenly had an urge to take off her glasses. Her eyes must be very beautiful. Boyfriend, what do you want to eat? Does this count as a date? Ivy smiled lightly. Counts, but dating should do things that dating should do. Why did she emphasize the word do so much? It made me strangely shy. Ivy took me to a restaurant near the school. Coincidentally, this was my favorite restaurant. She took off her jacket, revealing a tight-fitting sweater inside that formed a beautiful curve on her chest. I couldn't help but swallow when the food was served. Ivy and I hadn't talked for long when a middle-aged man in a vest walked over. Behind him were a few young people. "Miss Ivy, Mr. Liu misses you very much." Ivy didn't bother to raise her head. "Then let him miss me. Who is stopping him?" The middle-aged man's expression changed, and his gaze turned to me. "Miss Ivy also has someone else here. Please don't make things difficult for me." Bang! A loud noise rang out as Ivy slammed the chopsticks hard on the table. The chopsticks broke in half. The faint scent of shampoo from Ivy's hair brushed past my shoulder. She took off her glasses and handed them to me. "Wait for me here." Then she walked towards the middle-aged man, her voice becoming cold. "Go to the back alley." The middle-aged man glanced at me and silently followed Ivy. I sat alone for 10 minutes, asking for help 108 times but still didn't dare to call. Finally, unable to hold back, I stood up and followed. Just as I reached the back alley, someone from behind blindfolded me. I smelled a faint perfume. It was Ivy's scent. She was standing right behind me. I could even feel the vibration from her chest when she spoke and the warmth from her body. "Why did you come here?" Ivy let go of my hand, lazily adjusting her slightly disheveled clothes. Her beautiful eyes carried a hint of anger, her tone casual. "Boyfriend, my family is very complicated. Are you afraid?" I shook my head. "I like you." Though a bit absurd, it was undeniable that I really liked Ivy. Perhaps I liked her at first sight. Ivy indifferently curled her lips into a smile, as if not taking my words seriously. I suddenly gathered all my courage and step by step, approached the girl in front of me. My unexpected action made Ivy stunned, instinctively stepping back. When her back was about to touch the wall, I managed to put out my hand to support her. This action also allowed me to take advantage of the situation to hug her into my arms. Ivy was shy and blushed. I leaned down and looked directly into the girl's eyes. "Don't you believe me?" Her eyes were no longer covered by glasses. They were so beautiful, as if they contained the entire starry sky. The cold shape of her eyes was even more alluring. My gaze gradually became blurred and dim. Cold fingers gently brushed through Ivy's hair. "Don't look at me like that." Ivy asked in confusion. "What is it?" "Let's do some dating things." Before Ivy could react, a warm sensation touched her lips. Her breath was stolen. I could feel her legs slightly trembling. I took the initiative to hug Ivy's waist. The clothes she had just adjusted were messed up by me again. I used my hand to hold the back of her head gently but forcefully, deepening the kiss. In the silent alley, Only the gasping breaths of both of us could be heard. It wasn't until the corners of Ivy's eyes became teary that I slowly moved my lips away from her. For the rare first time, I saw her in such an awkward state, clothes disheveled. I was slightly breathing heavily. Don't cry, I didn't mean to. I've had a quirk since childhood. I panic whenever I see girls cry. This must be the first time in Ivy's life that she was bullied like this. Tears kept flowing. I sighed and used force to pull her into my arms, gently patting her back. If you keep crying, your makeup will be ruined. Ivy immediately swallowed her tears. After calming down, I walked Ivy back to school. She quickly regained her usual cold demeanor. All the way back, my gaze kept falling on her red lips, my face burning up. The burning sensation mixed with a hint of longing, to the point that when I returned to the dorm and saw the shape of the red chili pepper planted by my roommate, I couldn't help but blush. My roommate Ryan wrapped his arm around my neck. Well, Ethan, you dared to hide your relationship from me. Most importantly, your girlfriend is actually Ivy. I pushed him away. How did you know? Ryan replied. Don't you even look at your own hopeless appearance? You ran straight to her classroom, were photographed, and then posted on the school's confession wall. I opened my phone to check. Sure enough, on the confession wall, there was a picture of me and Ivy sitting side by side. The comment section below exploded. This male student is from our department's honor roll. As expected, the top student and the honor roll are a match made in heaven. This is too awesome. Unexpectedly, there would be a day to see Sister Ivy in love. Just woke up and the #1 hot girl has been taken down. This kid is amazing. Ryan patted my shoulder. I know you wanted to be in love, but I didn't expect you to have such great ambitions. If you don't love, you don't love. But if you love the one at the top of the list. But do you know about Ivy's family situation? I thought of the people today and frowned. Tell me. Ryan lowered his voice. I heard her family used to be in the underworld since her grandfather's generation. They just retired from it recently. I heard from senior students that once Ivy's father's illegitimate son brought people to cause trouble for her mother. He was driven away by Ivy and her people, and that person had to be hospitalized for a long time. Are you scared? I said. Fighting like that is right. Ryan rolled his eyes. Forget it. You two are really a match made in heaven. After a while, Ryan squeezed into my seat. Tell me honestly. My buddy, you two are completely unrelated. How did you get together? What method did you use to win over a great beauty like Ivy? I want to learn. I sincerely replied. Good at crying. Ryan was speechless. It seems your subtle public announcement was a success. I became much bolder than before, actively inviting Ivy to eat in front of the crowd. I dared to hold her hand, interlacing our fingers. On weekends, I coaxed her to go to the movies, walk the streets, and openly went to her classroom to discuss homework together. Ivy's grades were worse than I thought, but surprisingly, her attitude towards learning was very serious. My mom cares a lot about my grades, so I have to teach my girlfriend well. Ivy had said I was also not polite. Every time she made a mistake, I would take off her glasses as punishment. Sometimes she made too many mistakes, and Ivy would leave the room with swollen lips, and I would also be covered in bruises. After more than a month together, I drew two conclusions. First, Ivy's boxing skills were not just for show. Second, despite being the school's queen bee, she was more easily shy and embarrassed than anyone else. The day of the final exam was also Ivy's birthday. As soon as I came out of the exam room, I received a voice message from her. Friends are gathering, waiting for you at the school gate. When I arrived at the school gate, Ivy was leaning against a car. Next to her was a young man. Seeing me coming, he smiled and said, Hello, you must be Ethan, right?
I'm Ken.
I nodded, surprised, and looked towards Ivy. She coldly added, People hitchhiking, no need to pay attention to Ken. He didn't say anything more and went straight to the passenger seat, intending to sit down. Ivy was one step faster, opened the passenger seat door and turned to me saying, What are you spacing out for? Get in the car. After a few months of knowing her, I was no longer surprised when a girl drove a car. I got in naturally. Ken's smile froze, then he opened the back door and sat in. Ivy's mood didn't seem good. Ken tried to start conversations many times, but she didn't bother to reply. A simple sweet song was playing in the car. Ken said, I remember you didn't like listening to these bland songs before. Ivy didn't answer. I whispered, I like listening to these songs. Ken coughed lightly and looked out the window. I felt embarrassed for him. If I had known, I wouldn't have answered. Arriving at the bar, someone ran out to greet us. Sister Ivy, brother-in-law is here. Young Master Ken is also here. Ken nodded slightly. Taking advantage of Ivy going to get drinks, I pulled a familiar friend to a corner and whispered, Who is Ken? He's the person Sister Ivy's dad chose as her marriage partner. But brother-in-law, rest assured, Sister Ivy never listens to her dad. Basically, she doesn't even pay attention to him. I see, got it, thanks. I returned to the table and sat next to Ivy, wrapping my arm around her waist. She leaned close to me and whispered, Where did you go? I made up an excuse. Restroom, Ivy said. First time coming to a bar. Don't run around, it's not safe. I nodded, but my gaze unconsciously fell on her collarbone. Today, her outfit was different from usual. No longer conservative. A short-sleeve shirt, casually, the collar slightly open, a bit messy. She also wasn't wearing glasses anymore. Under the dazzling, colorful lights of the bar, Ivy was like a captivating enchantress, making people crave her but not dare to touch her. I could only drink a few sips of cold water, trying to suppress the restlessness in my heart. After a round of drinks and polite conversation, Ivy stood up. Her voice, with a hint of alcohol, was even more pleasant to hear. Let me officially introduce my boyfriend, Ethan. Everyone cheered. Brother-in-law. Hello, brother-in-law. I had never seen this scene before and just wanted to find a hole to hide in. Brother-in-law, you are Sister Ivy's first man. You are really good at bringing her into love. First love. Ivy had never been in love before. In the middle of the party, everyone successively presented gifts. Finally, everyone's eyes focused on me. I refused in every way, but in the end, I couldn't refuse everyone's curiosity and gritted my teeth to take out my gift. Ivy asked shyly, Why black stockings? Why else would it be? I tried to force a stiff smile. Ivy curled her lips. Ethan is lying, not a good kid. I felt guilty and drank a few more sips of wine, but then the alcohol kicked in, and I had to go to the restroom to splash cold water on my face. While splashing, Ken walked in. I sobered up instantly. Kay challenged Ethan. I'm very curious, why do you like Ivy? You and her are completely different worlds apart. My nerves tightened like a bowstring. Was this a declaration of war? Ken, while wiping his hands, continued. Ivy is arrogant, conceited, hot-tempered, and her personality is cold. It's very difficult to build close relationships with others. And you are different. You are gentle, good at studying, and have good character. I wondered if I had drunk fake alcohol. Ken was praising me. He smiled faintly. If it wasn't for being forced by my family, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with Ivy. It's too late now. I'm leaving. I wish you two happiness. I hurriedly left the restroom. Just returning to my seat, everyone immediately shouted, chanting unified slogans, the sound resounding. Sister Ivy loses. She has to be punished. Even the eyes of the next table were attracted by us. I was stunned. What's going on? Ivy said lightly. Nothing, just lost in a game and have to be punished. I eagerly asked. Punished? What? Ivy spoke up, her voice carrying a faint scent of alcohol, even more melodious. Do you have your ID card with you? I stammered. Yes, I have it. Ivy's voice lowered a lot, gentle and soft. Okay. The people around who were shouting all stopped. I secretly thought, was I hearing things just now? Sister Ivy was asking for other people's opinions? Didn't I seem to hear her ask brother-in-law? Okay, wasn't Sister Ivy's catchphrase, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, then get lost. Ivy raised her eyebrows. You guys. Get lost. Everyone immediately dispersed. At this time, I finally understood Ivy's meaning. My face immediately turned red, and I whispered, okay. After saying this sentence, all my nerves seemed to be twisted into a knot. Ivy didn't hesitate at all and immediately pulled me out of the bar, but not to the hotel next door. In the night wind and the bustling crowd, Ivy turned her head to look at me. Ethan, go home with me. I didn't know if it was my imagination, but I seemed to hear a hint of sobbing in her voice. I asked, where is your home? For the first time, Ivy took the initiative to hold my hand. Wherever my home is, that's where we're going. I was speechless for a moment. Ivy finally took me to a small apartment she bought near the school. Ivy said, "I'm going to take a shower." Hearing the sound of water flowing in the bathroom, I was like a quail, frightened, sitting on the sofa, uneasy. Strange fantasies appeared in my mind. The lights brightened and Ivy walked out. My gaze was immediately attracted by her alluring figure. Long straight legs, cold white skin, and a slender waist. A person who looked like this, no wonder her personality was so bad, but she still stood firm in the school's goddess rankings. Ivy casually took a towel to wipe her hair, then naturally sat down next to me. I immediately felt breathless, not knowing where to put my hands. Ivy looked at my awkward appearance and smiled. "First time so nervous?" I opened my mouth, my voice a little trembling.
No.
Ivy smiled lightly. "Are you okay?" I immediately felt the tension disappear, and my whole body leaned towards her. "Ivy, what did you just say?" I didn't hear clearly. "Wait a little longer. When we get to bed, tell me again, okay?" The lights in the room went out suddenly. The sky was dark, with only 1 or 2 stars flashing past, dragging a long trail of light across the Milky Way, bright and powerful. The next morning, Ivy slept until noon. To wake up last night, she was too exhausted, really a bit tired. After showering, she didn't even have the strength to use the hairdryer. I picked up the hairdryer and skillfully dried her hair. Before, it was always my mom who dried my hair for me. When you're free, I'll take you to meet my mom this afternoon. Tomorrow I have to buy tickets to go home for the new year." Okay. I thought that meeting Ivy's mother would be at her parents' house, but unexpectedly, it was at the hospital. The woman lying on the hospital bed had a face a little pale but still revealed the dazzling beauty of her youth. Gentle eyebrows, elegant demeanor. Just lying there was like a landscape painting. Perhaps time also slowed down when flowing through her. It was hard to imagine that such a gentle woman would give birth to such a thorny Ivy. Ivy introduced me to her mother. "Mom, this is my boyfriend, Ethan." The woman's tired eyes flashed a hint of light, grasped my hand, and talked to me very enthusiastically. We hit it off immediately, completely ignoring Ivy on the side. Ivy sighed. "I'll go outside, not bothering you two anymore." Ivy's mother and I talked from the formation of the universe to choosing chicken feed. Finally, we talked about Ivy when she was little. Ivy wasn't someone who liked violence, but in such a family environment, she had no choice but to learn boxing and free fighting. She was beaten too much since she was a child. Countless times, in the end, she could only use her fists to protect herself. Ivy's mother sighed softly. "Her personality is cold, her appearance is okay. She doesn't know how to coax people, and she's not gentle. You have to be more tolerant." "Okay," I nodded with a smile. Ivy's mother suddenly remembered something and took out a photo from the drawer. "I keep feeling you look familiar. Look, is this you?" I took the photo. It was me in my freshman year of college, winter. I was leaning on the railing and as a result my tongue stuck to it, mouth wide open, looking stupid. I asked, "Auntie, where did this photo come from?" Ivy's mother said, "I found it in Ivy's room." "Oh right, at that time I also found this, a piece of A4 paper on which was written a list of the names of your ex-girlfriends. On each name there was a red check mark. Ivy is so childish." Leaving the hospital, I finally understood. I bought tickets to go home. Ivy saw me off to the train station. I opened my arms to hug her. Ivy hesitated for a few seconds but finally hugged me back. I leaned down and gently bit her lips, then stuffed the photo of me licking the railing into her hand, turned around and walked into the ticket gate. "Ivy, you big liar." After going home, Ivy and I contacted each other much less, especially in the days leading up to the new year. Home was very busy. As a result, on New Year's Eve, my WeChat avatar in WeChat suddenly flashed. Opening the window, I was stunned. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Admiring the snow?" Ivy's tone seemed full of questions, but I still listened and walked to the bedroom. I opened the window. In the snowy sky, Ivy was standing under the street lamp, looking up at me. She softly moved her lips. "Ethan, Happy New Year." In that moment, I suddenly connected everything together. My WeChat avatar was a picture of a boy peeking his head out of the window, looking down. Ivy's avatar was a girl looking up. Before, I wondered what that girl was looking at. Now I understood everything. It turned out that all love, no matter how silent and intense, leaves clear traces.